I'm WG, and a lot of you are getting close or are already on the selector with all the compensations, with all the gifts, with all the events. The reason why we're still a bit further away on the free-to-play is due to us being lower leveled and not having yet fully done all the like super tangible rewards. But overall, the general consensus is that a lot of you are getting close. So that opens up the question of who should you pick? So that is what we'll be discussing in this video. One very big disclaimer though, you should always go for who you like. Don't let anybody tell you who's meta, don't let anybody tell you who you have to run. You can make everything work, and that is the beauty of this game right now, and hopefully even very far into the future. So go by looks, go by design, go by aesthetics, go by sound design, pick whatever you like, or even just go by eye color, who cares, right? But then again, if you want to hear my opinion or a generalized opinion on who is currently performing better, who's currently performing worse, then yeah, feel free to stick around. So then let's talk about the selector. First off, very important, it is not yet confirmed or denied if Haru will be added to this selector once her banner ends. This is something you can wait out, maybe something even you should wait out, because there's a massive difference between this selector getting continuously added into or this selector staying fixed to the base 10. You've heard different opinions from different sides. There's nothing concrete confirmed yet. We'll have to see what happens when Haru's banner ends. Now, next up, let's explain a bit of the layout. So, obtain 1, obtain 2, not owned. What does that mean? Not owned means you don't have the character, you get his first copy. Obtain 1 means you already have the character, and this is going to be your E1, whereas obtain 2 means you obtain your character, or better said, obtain means owned to. It should say like owned to, which would then make this run the number 3. Oh yeah, I guess just as a little side note, if you finish off this selector and you use it, there is no selector after. There is not stacking up to another 300 selector. Alright, so let's talk business, let's talk specifics. This is our tier list that we will be referring to, and as you can see, I don't see any reason whatsoever to judge a character lower than A, and the only reason why there's an S and A category is, you could say, to a degree, treat it like ease of use. Like, how many teams could you slot them in? How complicated are the mechanics? How much value do they provide to the team? And like, just, I guess, raw numbers output, and also more like, ooh, potential, right? But overall, you could just as well move every single one of these units up there. It is very, very well balanced at the moment. And no matter who you pull, so long as you like the character, as I said it before, you will be able to make them work. But now let's talk a bit more about the character, so you can get an idea of the hows, whens, and why. But also something that is very important for you to consider: there is no negative in delaying your choice. You can always wait. Like, for example, if you have everybody besides Maylin and Hugo, if you pick Maylin, it could take a whole long time until you get yourself a Hugo, so why don't you just hold on, summon, and the moment you get either Maylin or Hugo, you just pick the other. The same is true for any other kind of account combination, especially if you have two favorites. Like, let's say you're missing Luke and Renoa, but you want both. Or Luke, Renoa, and Rin, and you just want one of them. Like, just make sure you get the other two, and then you pick like the last one, right? This selector doesn't go away. So now that we truly have all the basics out of the line, let's talk about the characters a bit more in detail. So the reason why Khalib is in here is because she's currently probably the strongest AoE character in the game, unless you kind of want to talk about Kayron. But yeah, Khalib and the Bug Planet, they go hand in hand. Playing the Bug Planet without Khalib is more of a struggle than if you play with Khalib, and she's also, at least at the moment, referred as like the dog walker, which refers to running a Khalib and a Mika, and any third unit and the team is going to work. You're going to be able to build safe data for said team. So that is kind of Khalib. What you can do with her, you can get massive shields, you can get massive damage, you have good card draw, you have good synergies, you have the tenacity breaks. She really kind of does have it all, and she also has that, like, in the future potential. The moment any character releases with a 2-cost card, or even with another Celestial card, which would be even better, Heaven, then yeah, Khalib is again back on the menu. So she is she's like probably the safest pick out of all of them. If you don't want to go wrong, pick Khalib and you'll be fine. Next up we have Veronica. So Veronica has kind of emerged as this like premier sub DPS choice, in that not only do you need to only invest a few points of AP into her actual skills, most of her cards are upgrade cards. Upgrade cards meaning you play them once and then you don't get them throughout the whole fight, which means that they thin your deck, they increase your chances of pulling the cards that you're actually looking for. And on top of that, also you have this nice and sweet end of turn damage combined with the beautiful card draw to just pull cards from other combatants. And yeah, that is really Veronica for you. She can just kind of also again slot in anywhere, have a Veronica in there and then go for any kind of main DPS, have yourself a support and you have yourself a team. Then we have Mei Lin. So Mei Lin is currently the unit which is type effective the most due to just having multiple tools in applying passion weakness or just being attack effective, and she's just most going to be like dealing that extra 25% damage, that extra 25% tenacity damage in pretty much all scenarios. And that then basically allows you to bring her wherever you want. She also has incredibly easy to build synergies, incredibly easy to pull off combos by just getting as many attacks and defenses, which is one of her cards, as possible, which allows you to pretty much play anywhere from 2 to 8 basic attacks in one turn. That combined with her ultimate that allows her to get an extra hit for the next couple of basic attacks, it just has incredible damage potential. And then also obviously there's further upgrades to basic cards, and then you can boost basic cards themselves by, for example, running something like a Ray. So Mei Lin is just the most generalized single target option we have at the moment. And also there's obviously that clip potential, that feel good potential, where if you truly play like a proper passion combo, you can end up in the tens of thousands of damage. Sorry for that noise. Next up we have Hugo. So Hugo is pretty simple, Hugo is pretty straightforward, and Hugo is a bit of a fun one. So Hugo is a main DPS that is a sub DPS. He is a sub DPS that is a main DPS. He's going to chill in your team, he's going to stack his hunt command stacks, and then the only thing he relies on is having a teammate that attacks a lot. Every single time one of your teammates attacks, Hugo is going to do a follow-up attack. These follow-up attacks can become incredibly powerful in the 4-digit plus per follow-up attack range. So like 1000 plus damage. And that is really the only requirement. You put in a Hugo, you try to get as many synergies for getting his hunt command stacks. They are going to stack up in the background. You can play a Tresor, you can play a Luke, you could even play a Rin. You just have them attack and Hugo is just going to join in. And that is Hugo. Also, Hugo is probably one of the lowest potential investment characters in the game due to none of his potentials truly boosting his follow-up attacks, which you could see as a positive, but also to a degree as a negative, which might cap his like super top end potential a little bit. So that is Hugo. Now we have Luke. So Luke is a bullet maniac. What he is really good at is shooting a bunch of shots. Luke has one deadly weakness, and that deadly weakness is the fortitude debuff on the enemy. If an enemy gets a fortitude stack, which is a stack that reduces their damage taken by 20%, and if an enemy starts to get 2, 3, 4, 5 stacks, all of a sudden they are immune to anything below a 100% multiplier, and Luke, he just shoots a lot, and rather not necessarily tiny but smaller shots. So that is, I guess, the only demerit. Otherwise you have a perfect main DPS that has mark debuffs, meaning follow-up attacks, has additional weakness buffs on his bullets, has the ability to deal more damage against shields, just has straight up bullets, can create multiple of those, and in turns where you properly fit everything together, like for example playing 5 bullets in one turn and then using his Dance of the Demon, you're going to get a 5 hitter or even a 6 hitter, 7 hitter, 8 hitter. Then again though, Luke is also one of those characters that incredibly so benefits from getting both the E1, which makes it easier to unlock his bullet finisher card for your whole fight, but also the E2, which just gives you an additional 2 shots to be fired. Like, his E2 might just be one of, if not the strongest E2s in the entire game. So Luke is a bit more heavy-ish investment, but even at A0 you can do some absolutely fantastic stuff with the guy. Next up we have Renoa, another bullet maniac, but in a different way. So Renoa has multiple tools to create these dirge bullets. These dirge bullets are then just going to pretty much fill up your hand, and then you don't even have to play him, making her incredibly AP efficient. So she's also one of those units that can perfectly run without a Mika, due to most of her combos being anywhere in the 1 to like 3 AP range standard wise. So you then have the ability to shoot bullets, to get the bullets back in hand, to make them come back into your hand, to use the ult to get them into your hand, to use synergies from other characters to further boost that bullet damage and get some incredible one-turn damage hits, or even, for example, a Nia or Cassius with the ability to deck shuffle, whereas then shuffling your whole deck actually counts as discarding the cards in said deck, which is also further going to trigger Renoa's bullets. So Renoa is just, yeah, she's just that. She's just a very versatile, very easy to build into, a very sweet void damage option. Next up we have Rin, who might just be the most selfish, maybe even the most AP hungry next to Charon character on this list, and that is due to your perfect Rin build basically being her saying like, alright, you play with me, you buff me, and I make you win. So Rin is all about cutting a lot, and cutting some more. Overall, you have this stance mechanic as well as the own card draw. So Rin not only is one of the best characters in the game, but also one of the most mistranslated characters in the game. So that's something we need to see fixed in the future. But overall, you're getting quite a lot out of her. You have the ability to add your vulnerabilities, you can get your cuts in, and especially her card draw card is incredibly powerful due to allowing you to deck cycle her cards really fast, like for example a double draw at 0 cost with a shield, or even a move synergy which allows you to, for example, let's take the Black Dance. It's kind of like her ultimate card and it does damage based on how many skills you have in hand. You can use that attack, use the move Epiphany, and then get the card back even though you just played it this turn, and then you can play it again and you can even get it back again. So that is Rin for you. It is just straight up raw damage. A lot of synergies opening up, can be incredibly AP efficient as well with the right combination of epiphanies, of cards, as well as also godly synergies. And yeah, you don't even need her to be truly AP hungry. Orlea, on the other hand, Orlea has been a little underestimated this whole time, but she is truly strong. So Orlea, you can play her in one of two ways. Number one, you go full DPS route and you have her Swifties, her Annoyings, which is one of her special cards, actually have the ability to do proper damage. Or you go the full tank route and all of a sudden your Toughies, which are like her tank slimes, heal you for quite a lot, around 5+ of max % HP every single turn. But then you have kind of like this key card that holds it all together, and that is the Softies. So the Softies are her damage boosting capabilities. What Softies do is they have two effects. Number one, if you keep a Softie in hand, it gives a % damage increase to the next attack card played with no cap. So if you don't play an attack card and you just keep your turns, you just keep stacking Softies, you can get ridiculous percentage-based multipliers added to the next attack card, which becomes incredibly strong on multi-hitters. But that's not all. When you play out the Swiftie, you get a further separate attack based damage boost, and this one lasts the whole duration of the turn, not just the next attack card played. So then you also have the ability to add vulnerabilities to enemies, to get multiple of these softies, to get these kind of synergies going. So overall, Orlea, she's a pretty solid option. Is she someone I would go exactly out of my way to be like, oh, you need to pick her? Not yet. There's still some things she has to prove. Like, for example, is her potential at the very top? Is that actually 6% team-wide crit chance? Is it only for her? And also, which are kind of like these rotations you want to go for to make her really, yeah, boost your next DPS, because that's what she is. She is a sub DPS slash damage booster with that healing added in so that you're also safe. Like, for example, I was able to use one Tuffy, which is one of her slimes, and actually get a 500 shield. That is quite big. Oh, and a little misconception about Orlea just on the side. You don't need to use a few star, a 1-star slime into 1-star slime to make a 2-star, and a 2-star into 2-star to make a 3-star. No, it goes a 1-star into 1-star makes a 2-star, and a 1-star and a 2-star make a 3-star. So that is Orlea. Now, Magna, honestly, she's just very well rounded. To a degree, you could even say basic, but she's pretty damn good at what she does. So you're going to get yourself really hard-hitting counters, big shields, reliable vulnerability application, and potentially even a combination of big damage plus even bigger shields, as well as a very, very, very reliable way of getting yourself counter attacks each run, so you can, yeah, kind of stay in like your safe shell and then punish the enemy for daring to attack you. So on the note of Magna, yeah, she just also kind of like a Malin, kind of like a Veronica. She can fit into pretty much any team. So you're going to pick your support, you're going to pick your damage dealer, be it sub or main DPS, and then you just slap a Magna into the team and you call it a day. So that is Magna. And then lastly, we have Big Boy Kayron. Big Boy Kayron, if Rin can make herself less AP hungry, Kayron wants all your AP and then some. So Kayron is kind of like an AP eating magician. He can create cards that cost AP out of nowhere. What I mean with that, if you use his basic attack, he also creates a futility. Both his basic and the futility cost you 1. So even in turns where you don't draw a lot of cards, he will always find a way to suspend your AP. And that also in a good way, because every time you spend on a futility, you boost multiple different parts of his kit. Like, for example, how he has a card called the Black Hole, which scales with every single futility used, or even different epiphanies that scale with the same thing, or even just with the creation of these futilities. And these futilities aren't just status ailments, they can also be turned into actual sources of either damage and healing, full damage, or even stronger damage plus healing at the same time through the use of the Oath of Vanity, which is an upgrade card. So Kayron is kind of like an AP eating magician. There is some absolutely ridiculous shenanigans you can come up with on a Kayron. You can find incredibly strong turns that allow you to pretty much ramp up a card from 0 to hero from turn 1 into turn 2. And that is just his single target potential. He also has incredible AoE potential due to both his ult and his, I think it's called like the Annihilation Sphere, you know the card that I'm referring to if you know Kayron. They all have that AoE potential, and also the fact that every time you exhaust a card, you can reduce the cost of a 3-cost card all the way down to 0, just makes him incredibly versatile and opens him up to play even more cards during his turns. And there's also some funny shenanigans like using a Ray to exhaust 2 cards, have the card itself exhaust itself, and then deck search for that 3-cost card, turning it into a 0-cost card you can play at any time you want. So that is Kayron. As I said before, don't really go too much by meta, don't really go too much by what you need. You pick what you want, you play what you want, and you make it happen. So I hope I was able to make this choice a little easier. I hope I was able to like give you an idea of what you can expect from any of these characters, and I just hope you're happy with your choice. Peace.